Affairs. We're broadcasting right now on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. Today, we have an informative session for those who are interested in entrepreneurship, learning the main principles of starting a business, and how to set yourself apart for success. As a women and minority-owned business, we've wanted to do our part to help other women to start their own companies, despite us still being in the midst of a global pandemic. April, for those who aren't aware, happens to be Women Empowerment Month. And between Women's History Month in March and Mother's Day in May, we wanted to help elevate the conversation of women empowerment and help other women business owners during this difficult time. And with that said, it's my pleasure to introduce Rana Shanawani, Executive Director of WCEC, Women's Business Center of New Jersey, and a not-for-profit organization funded in part by the U.S. Small Business Administration. Hi, Rana. How are you?
Hi, good, thanks.
Rana, first, let me start by thanking you so much for joining us to talk about this important topic. I wish I had known about the Women's Business Center of New Jersey when I first started my business at the age of 30, Stateside Affair. As a Colombian American and as a millennial business owner of a multilingual public relations company, I'm sure I could have learned so much about the services that you're offering. And so if you can just explain to us a little bit more about your history with the organization and what you're doing at this time to assist others during this difficult, challenging time.
Sure. So we are part of a network of 140 other women's business centers across the nation. All of us are funded by the government's Small Business Administration. And the objective is to reach out to the community and help as many women and micro business owners as possible. And in addition to that, we have prioritized different types of entrepreneurs, including ones in opportunity zones. That's one. A different type is BIPOC women. And we are always just trying to do everything we can to make sure that micro businesses can survive and thrive. And so how do we do that? We try to provide any type of information or resource that's out there that can help a micro business owner. So if you're struggling with anything, just come to us, and we either have a subject matter expert that can help, or if we don't, I don't think we've ever been stumped. But if there's something that we don't have within our network, we will definitely research it and get back to you.
Can you explain for a second, like, what are opportunity zones? How can someone figure out if they live or operate a business in an opportunity zone? And for anyone who's unsure, there's all these acronyms like minority, women-owned businesses, disadvantaged businesses. What is a BIPOC? I think that's how you pronounced it.
Sure. So what we do is we prioritize all different. So you mentioned opportunities. Let me start with that. So opportunity zones are various zones that have been marked by the U.S. Census Bureau and the IRS, which have received incentives and tax incentives to be able to have those communities. They're underdeveloped, and the government is trying to develop those communities to be able to just help that because it is underdeveloped. So what we do is we target those areas, and we just do a little bit more extra marketing and advertising in those areas to help those business owners to survive and to help build their businesses.
So if I was a business interested in finding out that information, would I go to you or to someone from the organization to kind of guide me in the right direction? Or, are there other organizations that you work with, perhaps like the New Jersey Economic Development Authority, that would also help identify if you are, again, located in opportunity zone?
So in terms of our clients right now, whether you're in an opportunity zone or not, at this time, because everything we're doing is virtual, it doesn't really make a difference where you're located. So we are trying to focus and prioritize people in those zones. But really, our classes and our counseling are open to absolutely anyone. And we as well try to stay within the 14 northern counties of New Jersey.
Okay, perfect. And can you talk a little bit more about those grants and funding opportunities that are available to, again, women, minority-owned companies? I know, like, there's maybe we don't have to dive so much into it because everyone is different, but funding coming from like the CARES Act or funding from the state or even like the counties, money that's funneled down to
Yeah.
some of those other agencies, and how people can apply for them.
Okay, so I'm going to walk you to our website. Actually, I can see that at the bottom of the screen, there's our class schedule. You can see wcecnj.org and then /WBC/class schedule. And so that's the first place that I would go to see the different classes that we're giving. We change them every day, we change them every week. And we do a lot of webinars specifically on what you're describing. So whether you're looking for funding for the PPP, which was a loan that the government offered to micro businesses and other small businesses. So there's micro, and there's small, and there's medium and large. So there was a major push in the second and third round of PPP to really help micro businesses. So try taking those classes, just do those webinars with us first. We also as well teach people about the grants opportunities that are out there. And again, those are changing all the time. So we've put in the work, we've done all the research, and then we're helping people to access those grants. And we do a lot of focus on BIPOC women. We asked about that. So Black, Indigenous, people of color. So there's a lot of grants that are out there that are focused and prioritized for them. And we not only help research them, but then once you draft something, we will actually proofread it with you. We can take a quick look at it and just see how it can be strengthened a little. So we're not going to do it with you, but we will look it over for you. So there's a lot of different services out there. And then finally, another thing I really want to mention is that we have one-on-one business counseling. So imagine we have found and cultivated the top subject matter experts all over the state, some cases all over the country. And we have brought them in, and we have them now working with us. We cover the cost of it. Normally it costs hundreds of dollars per hour, but we cover the cost. And because we have this amazing grant, that goes to our clients for free. So you need help with marketing, you need help with bookkeeping. I just think of anything that you might need help with in your business. Just sign up for our counseling and we will help you with that. Now, in addition, I wanted to review, hold on, I just have this one website. I'm not sure if I can put this out there.
We can put it up there for you.
Okay, so if you guys can put up the one about resourcing, the COVID resources. If you look at that, I was just looking at it from an outsider's perspective. I think that it's a little bit overwhelming information. It's a lot of information of where would you start? I would definitely just take a quick look, schedule a one-on-one business counseling session with us, and we would help match you depending on what your situation is, go this way or go that way, and just make things much more simple for you when you apply for all of this stuff that's out there.
Yeah, I mean, I have to tell you, like, we're going to complete our 6th year in business, and I'm just learning now all of this grant and available funding that the state and the federal government makes available to businesses like us that we never took advantage of. But I think it's more, we're probably more aware of it because we're helping our clients push out that information. And I think the state is also doing their part in organizations like the WCEC to market those opportunities. So I think that's great. I guess it's never too late or soon to find out, about funding opportunities. And I guess with that said, is this a good time to start a business? I know, like with the pandemic, some people may have lost their jobs. And are you seeing an influx of women-owned businesses that are growing in New Jersey? And would they be also eligible to apply for some of this funding?
So shockingly, to our surprise, and I think to everyone else's surprise, we are having people come to us to help them start businesses at 4 times the rate that they were pre-pandemic. So record numbers of people coming to us to help them to launch businesses for the first time. So it sounds like people have finally had the time, they have been laid off, they have the time now to finally think and strategize about launching their passion project. And we have helped a lot of people do that. And as we're doing that, Obviously, we are helping them to do that, to be as risk-free from pandemic future problems as possible. So really to help them digitize their businesses from the get-go, have all of their paperwork ready from the get-go so that when those PPP and idle offerings are out there, they have stuff ready to go in their files to submit. All their bookkeeping needs to be in order from day one. So we're really trying our best to coach our clients to have everything set up and ready to go.
So you talked about digitizing your business, and I can't emphasize how important that is. Like so many businesses, we were also scared and didn't know how our business would be impacted this past year. And luckily, we had our pulse on digital communications, and we began producing live stream and webinars such as these for public and private entities. And we did it around the census, and we did it around COVID-19 communications, both in English and Spanish and other languages. And we even had our courageous lead producer who's on the back end. And we have a team of women also producing this show, which I'm really proud of. But she joined us at the peak of the pandemic. So shout out to Lisa for having that courage to make that move. But I guess my point is that you never know what skills that you possibly could have acquired at a younger age. So I personally graduated from Montclair State University, and I attended their broadcast journalism department. And never in a million years did I think that I would use my experience in television and video production as an experience to use and amplify other people's messages on digital platforms. So our team learned and we pivoted, and we see other organizations are as well. And I know that you've recently produced a podcast called Big Voices on Small Businesses. So if you could tell us a little bit more about the intention of this programming and the benefits that it brings to business owners and the people you're trying to reach.
Sure. And you mentioned it at the very beginning of when we started. You said when you started your business, you'd wish that you'd known that there was a nonprofit that was out there with all the resources that we have. And so the podcast plays exactly into that narrative. We are trying so hard to reach out to as many people as possible and just get the word out that we are here. We are here to support you, to make sure your business is getting as much support as it can. And as I mentioned, the grant allows us to do that for all of the community free of charge. And that, by the way, I want to emphasize, and I'll repeat it several times, we help women and men. So it's not just women only. So please, we invite everyone to come and take advantage of these resources. If you would like to go to our resource page as well, I mentioned the classes that we give, and then as well sign up for any of the counseling. So to give, I think I gave examples, but I'll give them again. Things like starting with bookkeeping. And really one thing that I do once a month is I have a town hall session, and I just plead with people, tell us what you need and we will do it for you. So give me another topic, another subject that if you look through our classes and you see we don't have it, let us know and we will go and find subject matter experts and give that course to the community. And then you can as well ask that person to do a one-on-one counseling session with you. So it's really getting really high-level consultants free of charge.
Definitely. And I'll just put it out there. Maybe we can have a conversation after this, but we have such a large Latino market in New Jersey. And if we can also get that information to those communities, I'd be happy to talk to you a little bit more to see how we can partner up.
Absolutely. And we do have Spanish-speaking counselors as well. Yeah. Perfect. I see that there's a question coming through about growing businesses. And yes, absolutely, we can. That is one of the many things that we help with. So we have a specific business plan series. It's a 6-week class that we give, and it really helps people to put a strategy forward on how to grow their business from logistics to marketing and bookkeeping. So it's a little bit of everything. And then, as I mentioned, you can continue with one-on-one business counselors.
Yeah, Kiyati Joshi, we know very well. Thanks, Kiyati, for asking the question. And she actually launched her book recently, White Christian Privilege. And so I think she's a really powerful female leader and someone that people should definitely follow. For sure. But I'm curious, you said that you have businesses that are applying at 4 times the rate. What sort of industries are you seeing the largest growth in?
It's so we have such an incredible variety. We have everything from digital businesses and accounting and doctors and dentists all the way to we have a lot of food industry coaches, life coaches, food coaches. There's absolutely everything. We have services, we have product based, everything that you can think of. We have. I'm not sure if there's anything specific that is trending these days, though, that I've noticed a pattern with.
Okay. No, I just think it's good for people to keep tabs on, what's trending in New Jersey, industries that are booming or about to boom. You have, say, for example, like the cannabis space. That's, I think, an area that women in particular should also take a look at. And then you have offshore wind.
Mm.
And again, I thank you so much for sharing the resources with us. And I'm sure that we're going to also keep an eye out on your podcast for, some of those resources that you talked about, especially bookkeeping, which when I personally started, I started off with one client and it was easy. And luckily, we've had the good fortune of growing through referrals. And it's just impossible to do everything and be everything to everyone. So QuickBooks has changed my life in general. But having someone, definitely walk me through it, I think that a lot of business owners out there can relate to.
Yeah, and the reason why bookkeeping is important isn't just for when you file taxes, but also when you're filing for all of those other financial packages. So when you're applying for the government loans and grants and all those grant applications, you need to have all of that stuff ready to go in order because a lot of times it's a quick turnaround. It gets launched and then you only have a few days or a few weeks to apply. So having all of that stuff ready to go is so, so critical. And specifically with PPP, having your payroll ready to go or your Schedule C from last year if you're a solopreneur, all of that stuff has to be available at your fingertips to be able to apply. So I know it's really, that's one thing that we hear specifically from our women clients is that it's extremely overwhelming for them. A lot of times they have commingled their business accounts with their personal accounts at the bank or with all of their, even with credit cards. And so we try to really hammer how critical it is to be responsible from day one to set everything up. And that way in the future, you'll reap the benefits of that investment.
Yeah, and I can tell you personally from a company that has a few of those certifications with the state, it's a lot of work. But once you do one, you already have all that paperwork compiled. And it's just a matter of uploading and getting it notarized. And there's other things that you have to do. But it's definitely worth it at the end of the day.
Absolutely. And you already said it, once you do it once, it's already there. And it's really just a collection of documents that all business owners, no matter what size, even if it's just you, it should already be organized in a file, either digitally or physically, and all ready to go. So that when those opportunities, including certifications, you mentioned certifications, when those opportunities come up, they're just there at your fingertips. So when you're starting, for anyone who's listening who's starting a business, as you start getting all of those documentations, you're going to get stuff getting emails and snail mail. Just make sure all of it's organized in one place.
And just to emphasize, you said all the services that you offer at this moment are at no charge, or some of them aren't. And I think you mentioned something at the very beginning before we went live, that you had a specific program perhaps that would be available through November of this year, or maybe.
That's right. So almost all of our classes are free of charge through the end of November while we still have this grant. And we have only 2 classes that are not free of charge, but they're very subsidized, and we have scholarships for both of those classes. One of them is the one that I mentioned before, which is the business plan series. And the other one is our 12-week business accelerator program called Growth Venture, which we will launch in the fall. We launch it twice a year. One is in the spring and one is in the fall. The spring one will end next month, and we will start it again in the fall. So that 12-week accelerator course is only for existing businesses. If you are a startup, you're not allowed in that class. It's really for the people who are at the second level.
Got it. Okay. And do you have any last parting words? Anything that perhaps we didn't touch on that you'd like to share with the people who are listening to this broadcast?
Yeah, I just really ask everyone who's out there listening to please check out what we have, sign up for stuff, and as well, if you know anyone else that needs help, that's struggling with his or her business, please as well send them our way. We are here, like I said, to serve. We have a robust staff of full-time staff plus part-time counselors, and it's our pleasure to serve the community. So please just spread the word about what we're doing.
Thank you. Thank you, Rena, so much again for.
Thank you. Thanks for the opportunity.
Yeah, no, I really thank you for being a part of this conversation again. And, it really takes a good network and the support of your community to grow. And it's okay to ask for help when needed. And again, like even as a business that has been around for 6 years and we've done work, on state and federal levels, I would say that, we've had a good group of women that have supported us. So I have to give a shout out to my Lupus sisters that I'm a part of, the state chamber. And there's a ton of females and female just friends and other fellow business owners, including Kiati was one of them, and men too that have supported us. And so, the more that we work together, the more that we lift each other up, I think that we can see a lot of growth in our economy here in New Jersey.
Yeah, and in fact, just to piggyback on what you're saying, one of the things that we offer monthly is a business counseling support group. So just listening to each other's struggles and then helping each person come up with one baby step of how to tackle that struggle. And we all combine our resources and brainstorm together. So even just that camaraderie of support, we have that as well at the Women's Center.
Perfect. And I would be remiss if I don't give a shout out to Robin Tabakin, who connected us. I serve on the board of the Supplier Diversity Council in New Jersey with her, and she spoke very highly of you and the organization. So it was just a no-brainer to have you guys on.
Thank you so much.
So thank you, everyone, for your questions. And I'm sure when we get any questions, we'll follow up with them afterwards. Stay tuned for our upcoming live streams. We have a very exciting nonprofit organization that we're going to feature in the month of May. Feel free to connect with us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, or on our new LinkedIn page. And please stay connected with us. Tune into our newsletter, sign up by going to statesideaffairs.com. Shoot me an email if you have any questions or comments at Christina@statesideaffairs.com. Thanks a lot, everyone. Take care. Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you.